Good morning and welcome back to the One that Celtic fans view this fine Sunday morning. Celtic transfer speculation. The dog's just lying down. Oh, she's fine. Celtic transfer speculation, and obviously we're linked again with the Croatian goalkeeper. But was that just a case of the fact that Celtic have been linked with them before? And would Celtic go back in with an increased offer for a player that they offered 5-6 million for last season, who then turned them down? I think it's just all paper talk. The fact that he was playing for Spain, playing against Spain yesterday, and it's a good way of getting clicks because people are looking at Croatia. But tell me what you think. Anyway, Callum McGregor has been talking to the press, and Hugh Keevins has been saying that Celtic have transfer business sealed. There's one thing for sure, Celtic are working away in the background. The fact is that Mikey Johnson and O look to be one of the first two out the door. Mikey Johnson's getting vast interest from down south, which is good for him, good for the player, good that he can move on in his career and get the monkey off his back that is Celtic. And the fact that he's had as many chances as he has at Celtic over the years, and he's never been able to produce the kind of form that he managed to produce down south last season, well, the second half of the season. He seems to be a different player when he's not pulling on the Celtic shirt. Maybe he feels the pressure a bit too much at Celtic, and maybe it is right for him to go. And you never know. Celtic might put in a fantastic 30% selling clause because they've got a funny feeling if Mikey Johnson goes down there and does do well, he will get another move. I mean, if Celtic sell him for 5-6 million, like it's been suggested, there's absolutely no reason whatsoever to say that he can't have a good couple of seasons down there and he goes for 15 to 20 million. That wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. I mean, I'm not saying right now that Mikey Johnson is a £20 million player. Of course he's not. But when you look at the market down south, sometimes crazy things like that happen in football on a daily basis. I mean, some of the players that get punted for crazy money down south is absolutely unbelievable. Anyway, there's one thing for sure. Celtic are working away in the background and they will announce the transfer deals when they're done and dusted. It's as simple as that. And we can surmise all we want and we can speculate all we want, but at the end of the day, none of us exactly know. Now let's talk some more about the transfer speculation when it comes to the goalkeeper. I mean, do we really expect that Celtic are going to? They went in with a £5 million offer for the player last summer, £5.5 million. Do you really think that we're going to go in with an increased offer this summer to Fenerbahce, who beat us to the signature of the player last summer? And do you think that Fenerbahce would accept the offer? I mean, if we went in with 5 million, like the only thing that's solid that's going to come out of Turkey these days is people that have been over for the dentist, because the hair transplants never last too long. Allegedly, I wouldn't know. I just shaved my head, so what is that to know? Anyway, Celtic do need a new goalkeeper, but we have been linked with quite a few goalkeepers over the last couple of weeks. So we just need to sit and wait. Obviously, there's players playing at the Euros that Celtic may or may not be interested in. There's every chance that I said it before, I think that the one for the Scottish defender, I think that that's probably a deal that might actually be done and dusted and verbally already, whether we like him or not, ex-Aberdeen player that was freed by Nottingham Forest. The fact that I think there is deals that have been verbally agreed at Celtic, and it's just waiting for the timing, and it is all about timing to get the players over the line. You've got to remember, people are still on holiday this week, and if they're not on holiday, they're at the Euros. So anyway, let's move on from that. Callum McGregor has been making the headlines. Callum McGregor, yep. You would think that Callum McGregor was the most experienced and high-profile player playing for Scotland. We all know that Graham Souness would have a dig at him because he fucking hates anything about Celtic. I'm surprised that he didn't just slate James Forrest for being on the bench during the Scotland game. But Graham Souness did take a personal dig, and let's face it, he's just a bigoted old man. He's just a bigoted old man that's never done nothing in football for a lot of years, and he swans about as if he still has some kind of influence over Scottish football. And he talks about Scottish football quite a lot in the media down south, but he never actually goes to any games in Scotland, and he hasn't for a very, very long time. And he's certainly not been to a Scotland game because they were in the studio in England watching the Scotland game. But he found that he thought he would have a direct dig. Not that there's players playing for Liverpool, not that there's players playing for Manchester City. Not that there was players playing for that's Arsenal players and many other teams down south, but he chose to pick on the one and only Callum McGregor. But Callum McGregor and the Scotland boys have come out and said, look, Callum McGregor has admitted that Switzerland and Hungary will smell blood after watching Scotland getting thumped, and let's face it, it was a bad game to watch. But I don't blame the players for that. It was a bad performance, and I put it down to the one and only Stevie Clark. And I've spoke about it many. I spoke about it in the pub yesterday. I mean, when it comes to the Scotland team, playing this narrow four in the middle of the park, if Germany wanted to get past Scotland in the midfield, they just put it out to the wings. It was so simple. But the manager didn't want to change his tactics. So we can slate the players all you want, but I've never heard any of the media yet slating the tactics, or maybe I haven't seen it, but slating the tactics of the manager. Because let's face it, it's the manager that bears the brunt of it. It's the manager that tells them how to play, and whether we like it or not, it was how he set the team up. And I've said it before, if you're going to set up a back five, back six in this type of competition, I mean, it happens every week against Celtic. Teams set up with a back five, back six, and you break them down eventually. You just keep doing your thing and you break them down. We do it on a weekly basis. It was obvious to anyone that watches football in Scotland that there's only going to be one winner. You could tell after 5 minutes. We're not even going to get a draw. There's not even chance of us getting a draw in this game. You could tell after 5 minutes it was going to be a terrible, terrible night. But anyway, the Scotland boss needs to restore the battered confidence in from the Tartan Army and the battered confidence of the players. McGregor shown humility and determination, as well as apologising to the Tartan Army, as he would do during his media conference. He did say, he says, look, it's still a bit raw this morning. This is where we've been strong. And Scotland sometimes like to be underdogs, and we do like to be underdogs, but I've never seen a Scotland. I mean, I stopped watching Scotland years ago, I've got to admit. I mean, that I've got a Scotland top, and it's a feeler top, and I don't even know how old it is. And somebody said to me, is that original? I was like, yeah. I bought it for a tournament a long, long time ago, and I stopped watching Scotland because they're rubbish. They're absolutely rubbish to watch. There's no enjoyment out of it at all. Anyway, Callum McGregor went on to say, I am sure everyone will come to us, and it's quite rightly so, for such a poor performance. We can't let that derail us and pull us apart. People start going in their little groups as a team. That's interesting, because you'll start to see the fragmentation, and you'll see players that are playing this league will blame players that play in that league, and players that don't play in Scotland will get blamed for the standard of play in Scotland, etc., etc. It's very much a club environment, but you have to stay together. That's interesting that Callan said that. It's very much a club environment. You have to stay together. Talking about the nucleus of the team, have to remain really focused and really stick together, because if they don't stick together, it's only one thing that's going to happen. In Scotland are going to get absolutely humiliated the next couple of games. But they want to prove people wrong, says Callum McGregor. We have a poor performance the other night and a poor result, and people smell blood. There's two teams that are going to play, that are going to smell blood, and now it's our time. He says, you've got to get inside the heads of the players now. He says, it's exactly, I'm sure that's what we'll do. The next 48 hours and how we respond is really important. McGregor offered nothing but sheer honest truth when he spoke to the media, and that's what Callum does. Callum's never, and there's not often that Callum's on such a the side of a heavy defeat. Ryan Porteous, seeing red, was just absolutely terrible. But anyway, it is what it is. The Celtic captain has come out and said, look, having a little dig back at Graham Souness, I think he's quite rightly so. But anyway, that's just the media for you. You wouldn't expect anything less from Graham Souness. He is one of them, and he doesn't let that go. He's a bigoted old man. Anyway, fuck him. So then, now that everything is done and dusted with the Celtic news this morning, there's not a lot of Celtic speculation going around, as you would expect, because it is a Sunday and the Euros is on. If you are interested in anything Euros and European football, Make sure you subscribe to this channel, Baz Does Euro Football, because this is where I'm going to be talking about the Euros. It's also where I'm going to be going to some games here in Spain. And what makes it really interesting is I'm going to be going to stadiums that are in the lower tiers of Spanish football. And they have attendances of full houses of around about 25 to 30,000 in some of these stadiums in lower tiers of Spanish football. So make sure you subscribe, click onto that, and then click on all so you get all notifications when a video does come out on that channel. And on that note, have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans all around the world.